What's up, everybody? I'm the BurningSkyCloud, and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. In the last episode, we had a date day with both Adine and Anna, but you all know who I would rather go for in that situation. So, let's see how things are going to turn out. So, the morning sun declared the arrival of a new day and woke me from my vivid dreams. Memories of my home, enclosed within the towering perimeter wall, raced through my head. The peaceful landscape outside the apartment window stood in defiance of these old thoughts. Rolling hills and blue sky were familiar to me now, and the purity of the sight gave me hope. Well, at least their sky is still blue. Didn't think about that until just now. Who's coming? Oh, Bryce, I bet. Or Sebastian. Scoy. Please come with me. What's going on? You sound serious. The chief will explain everything once we arrive. Okay. Hey, Chief. Scoy is here. Thanks, Sebastian. You can deal with the situation here while I talk to Sky, alright? Of course. Scoy, I've got some really bad news. It's been nothing but bad news with you almost every day that I've been here. Well, what is it? You know Anna, right? Oh, no, no, Anna! I've met her, yes. No, not Anna! Not Anna! I mean, I'm glad it's not Adine, but not Anna! Those few words were enough. Dread sank in, and I already knew. No! No, not Anna! Don't. I ignored his words and walked past him. I mean, I didn't have any emotional attachment to her, but still, she was starting to become likable, kinda. I mean, once I got past her exterior. No! No, not Anna! When I turned the corner, there was no mistaking her. Anna was haphazardly covered by a sheet, leaving her tail and bloodstained hand exposed. In the end, she didn't even deserve full discretion. Are you okay? I don't know. Is there anything I can do? That I can do? My mouse doesn't want to go down. There we go. Let's just get this over with. Bryce gave me a concerned look, but then nodded. And here's more bad news. The blood we found on the first victim in town matches the DNA evidence found on the second victim at the power facility. Furthermore, the murder weapon and method appear to be the same across all three victims, and that's going to be a big problem for you. Why is that? Because with these three murders, Reza now qualifies as a serial killer. We won't be able to keep this whole thing quiet for much longer. Higher authorities, including the ministry in charge of your whole visit, will know about this soon. I have no idea what will happen once they do. I'm not sure what to say to that. I don't want to worry you, but we can be sure that action will be taken soon. I've been considering this possibility for a while, and think it might be best if you went back to your own world for now. This way, we can take action before the ministry does, and before this all becomes public. If we wait, we don't know what they'll do or how the public will react. With everything going on, it's too dangerous for you to stay here. No. No? This would be the worst possible time for me to leave. We've given up our PDAs and hardly have anything to show for it. We are owed several more generators, and let's not forget that Reza is still missing. If I leave now, the only thing I return home with is my life. I'll have lost everything else. We need those generators. We need those generators, Bryce. I have no idea if your authorities will continue to uphold our deal, or what they do to Reza, but I'm not leaving until this is over. If that is your decision, then so be it. Anyway, let's get back on track. I called you here for a reason, Scoy. In addition to the murder, several things were stolen. Among them your PDAs, batteries, and some components used to build generators. That sounds like Reza. Guy's desperate enough to get what he wants. Does that ring any bells? Not really. Reza may have some knowledge of electronics, but I doubt he has enough to assemble one of your generators, even if he had the parts. Strange. Even so, it's fair to assume Reza's involvement at this point. No one else has a greater motive to steal the PDAs, especially after what happened between him and Maverick. Unless someone wanted to frame Reza in order to sabotage this whole operation. Do you really believe that? Hey, I'm just saying that it's possible. I'll shelve that under possible but unlikely. Hey Chief, are we done here? Pretty much. Why do you ask? We just got a message from the higher-ups. You and Scoy are to report to the Ministry of Culture and Arts immediately. Immediately? As in right now? Yeah, apparently. What's going on? To be frank, I don't know. This is an extraordinary situation, and now that it's getting out of hand, they must want to address it. Yeah, a surprise party. So the worst possibility. If you expect the worst, at least you won't be disappointed. That is true. If you expect disappointment, you won't be as disappointed. You have nothing to be that upset about because you knew that it was going to happen. Sebastian, can you finish up here and go to the ministry when you're done? We'll probably have to make some arrangements after this meeting. Sure thing, Chief. Let's go then, shall we? It's not like we have a choice. That was quicker than I expected. I wouldn't have minded waiting out here a little longer. Greetings, Minister. Oh, she's the Minister. One of the higher-ups. Greetings. Wait, did I know that last episode? Or 2 episodes ago? I don't quite remember. Shall we go inside for our official business? No, I've got everything I need right here. It gets so stuffy inside on hot days. My assistant doesn't seem to mind, but I prefer the fresh air. I'd rather just stay right here, unless you have any objections. I don't. I see. Well, I know I haven't exactly been up to date in regards to Reza's sudden disappearance, but to get the message today that he's a confirmed serial killer was quite shocking. Frankly, I'm curious as to why the facts of this case have been withheld from me for so long. Simply because they weren't within your jurisdiction. The murders were strictly a police matter. Only with the amount of new evidence, namely the DNA and blood we found, and these 3 murders now being linked together, and to him, did your ministry have to become involved. I see. So, Reza's involvement is now undeniable. I'm afraid so, Minister. Facts are nothing to be afraid of. Though, in light of all this, I'm starting to worry about my personal safety. With our thick hides, I don't think our species has much to fear, if we consider the murder weapon. Speak for yourself. You don't think someone of my standing needs protection? Oh, for sure. If you are worried about your personal safety, we could look into an escort for you. Good. Considering all the murders took place during the night, I'll certainly need it. Long days are endemic in my line of work. But that's enough about myself. We now face the question of what should be done about Reza and Scoy. Minister, we continue our hunt for Reza every day. As a matter of fact, Scoy has been helping us do so for a while now. Is that so? One human a murderer, another a detective. Interesting. And how do we know Scoy isn't following a similar plan to Reza's, whatever that may be? Similar concerns were leveled by Reza's escort, Maverick. It was his overreaction that caused Reza to run away in the first place. Let the human talk for once, Chief. Please, Scoy, enlighten me. You and Reza came here on the same mission, and the situation has escalated beyond our expectations. What you tell me now will determine the actions I'll take on this matter. Maybe you should start by telling me your side of the events from the beginning. Reza was fine during his early days here. Things only went wrong after you arrived. I opened my mouth, but Bryce spoke first, determined to defend me. Arguably, the problems that caused all this were apparent. Okay, hang on. Arguably, the problems that caused all this were apparent even then. Oh, there we go. Yeah, because even then, I think Reza was starting to act suspicious, even before we got there. How so? Maverick suspected Reza of planning something, but I didn't think he had a case. Well, did he? No, what we had was a suspicion. What he had was a suspicion. The night he followed Reza, he found both him and Scoy at the portal. The humans intended to send one of their promised generators through, but there was a confrontation that ended with both Maverick and Scoy wounded, and Reza running away. Reza's been missing ever since. I've read the reports already, Chief. The question is, did Maverick cause this, or did he just fail to prevent it? I have no way of knowing that, Minister. You just mentioned your apparent knowledge of problems back then. Problems may not have been the right word. Let's just say Maverick's attitude was not helpful during that encounter. Why did you choose Maverick as his escort in the first place? Protection for the human ambassador was my greatest concern when I made that decision, and Maverick was the most capable individual in that regard. Well, that worked out nicely, didn't it? You also seem to think that Maverick shouldn't have remained Reza's escort. Is that true? Yes. Had I paid more attention to the warning signs, the situation may have been avoided. So you accept responsibility for the incident? More or less, yeah, he'd have to. Yes, Minister. I see. Now, let us get back to the topic of Scoy. Reza was your partner in humanity's mission to come to this world. His list of criminal activities not only includes murder, but also theft of generators, electronic components, and the PDAs your people gave to us. I understand why Bryce would reason that you could help the investigation, but we have no other choice but to be suspicious of Reza's partner. What was your motivation when you agreed to help us? It is my best bet at finding the truth. I thought Reza's involvement was undeniable at this point. But that may be true, but we still don't have the whole picture. We don't know if others are involved, or his reasons. I just want to know why. I see. Well, after reading up on the whole situation and hearing both your accounts, I believe that Scoy is trustworthy. Nevertheless, I think Scoy presents a great risk. Why is that? After this meeting, I will hold a press conference to inform the public of the current situation. The people must know the danger. The people must know of the danger posed by Reza. No matter what Bryce and I think about your involvement, the public could feel differently. You, me, and Bryce will have to face the backlash resulting from this information becoming public. And what's more, Scaly, you might be in real danger yourself. Reza himself may come to silence you once he learns that you are helping us. Or consider the public uproar from those who would question your involvement. All things considered, it would be best for the best if you return to your own world until the situation has been resolved. I came to the very same conclusion, Minister. Then, with your support, this is what shall be done. Please, don't. You don't agree? If you send me back now, this diplomatic relationship is over. I'd have to admit defeat to humanity. There is no way I can return without your generators, RPDAs, or Reza. Maybe you could explain to them what a great choice of an ambassador Reza was. But I was his partner, so in a way, he is my responsibility. I can't just go back like this. I'm afraid that's not enough. It certainly doesn't outweigh our reasons for sending you home. Just let me explain. I'll tell you everything. Alright, well, I guess that explanation is going to, it might help us stay a few more days. Years ago, our world was prosperous. Eh, words are so hard. Our technology was far more advanced than yours, even. Computers not only graced every household, but every single person. It was the age of information. Even children had the power to access the most advanced knowledge at their fingertips. With our PDAs, our interconnectedness with other people and our environment was greater than ever. From locomotion to repetitious work and household chores, many processes were automated to such a degree that, except for our jobs and hobbies, there was nothing that needed to be done by a person anymore. Even the concept of someone wielding a weapon was outdated, as wars were no longer fought by people, but machines. It's the Terminator all over again. Looking back, it was probably the single most prosperous time in human history. Exploitation of the environment and other people was at an all-time low, as was crime. Conversely, our technological advancements had drastically increased quality of life. Humans were no longer required for strenuous and repetitive tasks. Education had reached an all-time high, and many new jobs were created. General happiness had reached levels never seen before. Never before seen. Yet one day, everything changed.
When the Fire Nation attacked.
A solar flare that was headed for Earth was detected by an automated monitoring system. It was determined to be so powerful that it dwarfed all others ever recorded in history. We had less than a week to prepare. Chaos hit much earlier than that. As people scrambled to shield themselves and their possessions from the incoming ion storm. On a worldwide level, power lines were switched off. Satellites reoriented in space, and planes grounded to mitigate the effects that would hit us. Despite humanity's contingency plan for such an event and all our efforts, we were still not prepared for the sheer magnitude of the solar flare that arrived. It was only then, when our race had become so dependent on technology, that we were immeasurably vulnerable against this kind of disaster. That day, a force with the power of 10 billion Hiroshima bombs was unleashed into our atmosphere. The eyewitnesses' report from this day were varied as they were terrifying. Whoa. A huge, beautiful aurora could be seen on the horizon before fireballs hurled across the sky. In some places, these lights became so bright that even those asleep at night awoke, as though day had already arrived. A coronal mass ejection by itself did not have the power to kill anyone directly, but the side effects were disastrous. After the lights in the sky arrived, sparks showered from electrical outlets everywhere, igniting rampant fires in every town and city. Facilities that stored weapons, fireworks, or other explosives became centers of widespread destruction and loss of light. During the next stage, the solar flares started to affect body modifications and caused commonplace pacemakers and nanomachines to fail. 15% of the world's population died as the result of this alone. Once the full power of the waves hit us, however, society as we knew it collapsed in one fell swoop. Power grids on Earth shut down in an instant, as did all the machines that automated our routine tasks. Long-distance communication and transport became a thing of the past. Without electrical power, the quality of health care plummeted, and water and sewage systems were crippled. Diseases we thought defeated centuries ago made their comeback in a most unsightly fashion. Ye gods! Many thought the end of the world had arrived, and in a way it had. Some people blamed whoever their belief system would allow, angry at the gods that had forsaken them. Others pointed their fingers at our lifestyle and society. Not that anyone was listening. Practically, we were back in the Middle Ages. Governments collapsed and were overthrown, and the ensuing power vacuums filled with groups of people that were sometimes organized and sometimes not. Imagine going backwards to a time without technology. People would riot. But eventually, I think people would learn to adapt. The few functional electronic devices left became rare, sought after artifacts over which battles and even wars were fought. Of course, there were also wars over resources and territory. The weaponry used was improvised, or reclaimed from the days when humans had been present on the battlefield. It had been ages, but people returned to the old bloody ways of war. Ah, right. Without machines doing the dirty work for them, they got back to fighting one another. How wonderful. Humanity is in shambles now. Those that I'd call family and friends now live with me in a giant, mostly self-sufficient city of state of survivors. A huge wall around the perimeter, guarded by militia, prevents any outside interference. It's the only way we can retain a modicum of order. Gangs of raiders and looters run rampant on the outside. They wouldn't hesitate to kill first and ask questions later if they had known about my PDA. Our contained community has flourished for years now. We have homes to live in, crops to grow, and livestock to raise, and still have our own automated hospital that runs on salvage generators. Lately, though, supplies have started to run low, and dangerously so. The power we have is running out. Illnesses are spreading through the city, and treatment isn't as available as it used to be. Our population is dropping by the day. We took a great risk to increase the radius of our scouting missions, desperate to find something outside the wall that could help us. You already know the rest of the story. We found the portal. And you. And now you know why this whole thing is so important to me. All our hopes lie in acquiring the generators as you promised us. Wait, all our hopes lie in acquiring the generators you promised us. I am somehow reading different words that aren't even in the sentences. The act of sending Reza and me here has, without a doubt, already cost the lives of some people back home. Beyond the city walls is a dead zone. We haven't heard from any other settlements for months now. The state of the rest of our world is unknown. When Reza and I were sent here, my peers made it clear that this was our last chance. If anything happens to us, no more people will be sent. If we can't manage to bring back something that will help, we'll help seal the fate of the tens of thousands that live in our city. Not unless they're already dead. I'm sorry, Scaly. I didn't know. If what you are telling me is true, it unfortunately does not work in your favor. As sad as your situation may be, it gives Reza a motive. Desperate times call for desperate measures, after all. In that vein, it also gives you a motive. Considering the gravity of the human plight, it gives you all the more reason to collaborate with him. I'm not. What Reza is doing is wrong. You can't send me away under these circumstances, because I'm your best bet at finding him. Even so, you would still be in grave danger after we announce Reza's involvement in the murders. I cannot and will not take responsibility for the consequences when I know of the risks. What about our deal, then? In the wake of this new information, and as a sign of goodwill, we will send the generators you are owed through the portal once this is over, under two conditions. Humanity must condemn Reza's actions, and we must reclaim the stolen PDAs. I've changed my mind. You should let Scoy stay here. I cannot take your word under consideration in this matter, Chief. Taking into account Maverick's actions, and your responsibility for them, you will have to be dealt with separately. This is a hot mess. With my authority as the minister in charge of the human visit, my decision is to have Scoy sent back to the human world through the portal. Please. Immediately. Dang! Chief, please arrange an escort to take Scoy to the portal now. I could do it myself, Minister. Well, we have our own matters to discuss, Chief, and I would rather get that over with as quickly as possible. In that case, one of my officers should be here any moment. I arranged for him to meet us here. How handy. Then let us wait for this officer of yours. Surprise, hello. It didn't take long for Sebastian to arrive. After the situation was explained, he was visibly shocked, but didn't protest when he was given the task of sending me back through the portal. Let's go, Scoy. Don't I even get to say goodbye? Let us not waste any more time. You will still be free to send letters after you have arrived on the other side. Just go, Scaly. Man, can only imagine how defeated Bryce must look. The sadness in his eyes, unable to do anything. Come on, then. We were silent as Sebastian and I slowly made our way to the portal. Got the feeling that something's gonna go down. With each step I took, I drew closer and closer to the hopelessness waiting for me in the ruins of the human world. All in all, I certainly had a unique experience alongside these dragons, and although this place was filled with just as much drama and murder as back home, I would remember this world and all the people I met. I would finally think back to the days I spent in their comfortable standard of living, a shadow of how humanity used to be. Even without the generators, at the very least I'd be returning home with a few life lessons. What's going on here? What's going on here? Adine! Lost in thought, I hadn't even noticed Adine approach. It's none of your concern. Please leave. Can't I even get a few minutes before I go? I suppose nobody's stopping us, but make it quick. Hey, Sky. What's going on here? Something serious happened. Looks like I have to leave. Oh, right now? Why? It was the minister's decision, not mine. You'll hear all about it soon enough. Does this have anything to do with what I've been hearing? Is Reza really a murderer? I'm afraid so. Oh, Man, this is so sad. I don't want to go. I want to stay with Adine. Well, what does that make you? I don't have anything to do with that. I was hoping the police find him. Then why are you leaving? They don't want me to stay here with all of this going on. It's for my own safety. Well, it was nice to get to know you at least. Likewise. I guess I should get going. Goodbye, Scoy. Oh, I'm so happy at least I got to say goodbye to Adine. Goodbye, Adine. I remember her. That was the witness from Reza's first murder. Did you know her? Yes. I see. A few minutes later, we arrived at the portal, standing proud as ever in defiance of the elements. How many years had the structure survived before it was found? I hope I can remember how this thing works. Are you joking? Yeah, sorry. I got it. Alright. I suppose it's time for us to say goodbye. Let's keep it professional. I don't like to mix personal matters with work. He looked away, and I shrugged. Go ahead and turn it on then. Would you stand between the pillars, please? Of course. I took my place and stared toward the horizon while I thought about what would happen now, in this world and others. Oh man. Even if I made a break for it, I'd become a fugitive, no better than Reza. It would be near impossible to investigate the case by myself, while on the run in a world I knew so little about. At the very least, I took comfort in the fact that I did everything I could to help, even if it turned out like this. Nevertheless, I dreaded going back empty-handed and returning to my old life in our ruined city. Any second now, the teleportation process would start disintegrating my body before I would reappear on the other side, back in my dying world. I wondered if there was any risk of getting lost somewhere between worlds. We didn't really know how the portals worked after all. Maybe I would be flung somewhere else in space-time, or it might affect my body in some way. I hadn't noticed any unusual changes in my body since I arrived in the dragon's world, but I had no way of knowing if there were potential long-term side effects. I still remembered the images I saw when I teleported the first time, the vivid sights and patterns, people and situations I have recognized since then. It only took a moment to arrive at the other side of the portal, yet it felt like I had dreamed 1,000 dreams. And during the nights I spent here, these dreams had often reappeared. Any time now, I would undergo the same experience again. I was almost relieved that my adventure was over. Things had turned out far differently than expected. I evaded danger, got swept into a murder investigation, and met incredible, intelligent beings from several different species. It had certainly been a time to remember. With that thought, I closed my eyes and braced myself for the moment that would come any second now. But that moment never came. The next thing that did happen was that I heard Sebastian's voice. It's not working. Are you joking again? No, really. It's not working. Wait. What is... wait. What is this? Someone sabotaged the portal! Oh, shit! I'm stuck here. It's broken. Can you fix it? I don't think so. This doesn't look like a simple act of vandalism. It looks like some parts were torn out. Why though? I guess that means I'm not leaving, huh? Not yet, at least. Well, what do we do now? Let's head back. The chief has to know about this right away. Yeah, we're in big trouble. We were back at the ministry long before. We were back at the ministry before long. Emra and Bryce were still outside, as Remy approached the two of them. Here are the case files, Emra. Why, thank you. Scoy and an officer? What is this about, Emra? That is what I would like to know. Please, officer, enlighten me. Why has my order not been carried out? The portal was broken. It's broken? Yeah. It looks like someone tampered with it and stole parts. I couldn't even get the interface to turn on. We'll check it out once I'm done here. I suppose Scoy will stay with us for a little longer after all. Ah, there we go. Seeing how this is an emergency situation, I will make this short. Chief, as a result of your carelessness regarding Maverick and Reza, you are temporarily removed from any duties related to the humans. Given these dangerous times, you will instead serve as my personal escort until further notice. Considering the circumstances, you will be allowed to coordinate the investigation of the portal, but after that, you are to immediately return to me to start your new task. Understood? Understood. Then all of you are dismissed. She turned to leave, Remy trailing after her. Alright, let's head to the portal. That includes you, Scaly. Of course. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a sheet of paper on the ground. Hey, what's this? Emma probably dropped one of the case files. Either her or her assistant. You better bring that to her. Sebastian and I should hurry to the portal. Meet us there afterwards, okay? Sure. I picked up the sheet and started reading. It was about what had happened when I met Reza at the portal. Of course, it didn't say anything I didn't already know. As I walked up the stairs, I wondered if it was okay for an unauthorized person to enter the building. All I knew about the place was that Emra worked there. I did have an important document that was going to be missed, so I walked inside, only to be greeted by an empty lobby. Luckily, there were some signs directing me to Emra's office. It didn't take long to find it, and I heard voices when I approached the door. By the way, what happened to the scroll you brought me this morning? The last time I saw it, it did not have that tear. I dropped it. Tell me something new for once. Okay, someone else dropped it. Am I supposed to believe that? Remy, are you aware of how much this costs? Repairing and replacing artifacts is not cheap. A scroll? I am afraid we will have to deduct this from your wage again. I see. You are not doing this on purpose, are you? Of course not. You have been working for me for a long time now. I expected you to learn at some point, but you are very resistant to do so. Not wanting to listen to this any longer, I decided to knock. There were a few seconds of silence. Please, come in. I only opened the door long enough to hand Remy the sheet of paper. I think you dropped this outside. After I closed the door and started to walk away, I heard the voices resume. This is from one of the case files you requested. You must have dropped it. Then why was it left outside? As my assistant, you should have paid more attention. If this got into the wrong hands, someone could get in trouble. Interesting. There's something going on there. I made my way back to the portal and arrived shortly after Bryce and Sebastian. Well, I can confirm that it's not turning on. I told you that already. Just wanted to be sure. You really think it would still work with a chunk ripped out of it? Hey, I'm not an engineer. We don't know how the portal works. It was worth another try. There you are, Scoy. What do you make of this? I'm afraid I don't know any more than you do. I'm not an engineer either. In that case, we should start thinking about the who and when. There are patrols assigned to the portal and surrounding area day and night. If someone tampered with the portal, they must have seen something. Today's day patrol didn't notice anything unusual, though. I guess she missed the part about the portal being vandalized. It'd be easy to overlook. It's a small part of the machine, and it's not like she was expected to check every square inch of it with each lap around the area. What about the night patrol, then? When I went over the reports this morning, I noticed the night patrol hadn't handed theirs in yet. And who was patrolling last night? Let me think for a minute. The schedule always goes in a certain order, so last night would have been... Damn. What is it? The night patrol for last night would have been Maverick. I got wrapped up in all the recent chaos and forgot to find a replacement for him when he went on sick leave. Maybe Emerald was right to take me off the case. So there was no night guard here at all. Shit. That complicates things even further. That's right. Whoever it was had an easy time doing whatever they wanted. Could it have been Maverick? If he knew no one was going to be here, he could have used that knowledge to his advantage. He couldn't have known that I'd forget to find a replacement, though. I don't usually slip up like this. What about Reza? Why would he have done it? He'd be cutting off his only way out. No, he'd be doing something smart. If he has the part he needed to get the portal working again, he's in control of who gets to use it. He's cutting off our ability to communicate with mankind. I'm going with Bryce on that one. Reza has complete control over everything that's going on here. We wouldn't be able to inform them of Reza's actions. Maybe we shouldn't have kept the investigation secret for this long. If your theory is true, that would be proof that Reza's actions are his own, not humanity's. Hey, I already trust you on that. Or it's a stunt to grant humanity plausible deniability. No way. Things are too dire for the humans to take such an extraordinary risk, especially for that. I'm sure that wouldn't be the only reason they'd benefit, though. There must be something we're not aware of. Maybe we're looking at this from the wrong angle. If no one was here to guard the portal, anyone could have broken it. It doesn't necessarily have to do anything to do with Reza or Maverick. But they still have the greatest motives. Sure, but they definitely aren't the only ones to have one. There could be private groups who are interested in the technology, or its significance as a human artifact. So that puts us exactly nowhere. At least as far as speculation is concerned. It's about time for forensics to show up, anyway. Let's hope they can pull some clues from all this. Sebastian, can you take it from here? You've just been as dedicated to the case as I have. Since I'll have to be at the minister's side for a while, I'd like you to take charge of the investigation for now. Thanks, Chief. I won't let you down. What's up with that anyway? Being appointed as Emra's bodyguard as punishment just seems strange to me. Are you kidding? I could have lost my job. This is a way better outcome. Honestly, she probably did it for her own sake more than anything else, but I'm not complaining. If that's all, I'm going to head back to the ministry. I shouldn't keep her waiting. Got the feeling something's up with Emra. So what does that make you now? Temporary chief? More like case leader. By the way, you won't need to stick around while forensics do their job. Thanks for your help. I assume you can find your way back to your apartment? Yeah, of course. Alright, I'll see you later then. See you! I consider spending my free time roaming the town, but decided that it would be best to keep myself out of the spotlight. You know what? I'm gonna leave this episode right here for right now. So, we're stuck now in the dragon world. That's not good. I'm wondering... It doesn't seem plausible that Reza would be able to kill others the way they've been dying. I mean, I feel like if Reza was killing, he'd do a sloppy job at it. But there's a pattern here. The same markings in the same spots. What clues are... We have no clues still. We don't have a lead on anything. But regardless of all that, everyone press F in the chat. No, leave F in the comments for poor Anna. She didn't deserve this. At least Adina is safe. If Adina dies, I'm going to lose it. But anywho, thank you everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and share. And don't forget to subscribe to see more in the future. I'll catch you later.